Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing video. Today we're having a look at Conquest, The Last Argument of Kings by Para Bellum. Now we saw this game a year or two ago at the UK Games Expo, and it's essentially a mass ranked combat game similar to Warhammer Fantasy, and I think it is very much filling that niche of the big blocked ranked troops and cavalry manoeuvring around the table. And yeah, we've been looking to have a look at this for a long time. Para Bellum very kindly sent us a copy to do a bit of a review on. So I thought we'd do a bit of an unboxing, have a look at what you get inside, and then we'll have a separate video on the game itself, and we plan to get some battle reports done as well. So yeah, first of all, this is a big old box. Lots and lots of stuff in here. So let's pop it open and see what we get. So as you can see, it is absolutely chock full of goodies. So we'll get the paper stuff out the way first, and then we'll have a look at the miniatures. So for the non-miniatures content in the box, we get some dice, which is always really handy. We get some cards. Now I believe the game uses quite an interesting system where you have a deck of activations. So essentially you will draw cards from your deck to represent each unit. And there are cards here that are concealed from your opponent, and you essentially create the order of battle, which is a really interesting way of doing it. Adds a nice tactical element to the game, and as we've seen in similar games like Age of Sigmar, having the stats on a physical card you can have on a table makes things really easy to follow during the game. So I always appreciate any accessories and cards with that kind of stuff on it, and some really nice artwork on there as well. It looks like some concept art, so yeah, they're really cool. In there as well, there's also some objective cards, lots of other bits and bobs for playing the game. Yeah, all that stuff looks really useful. And yeah, nice to have it in the core box as well. It's not something you've got to go out and buy separately, which is cool. We also get the core rulebook as well. Now, I believe this is available for free online as well. I'll have a quick flick through this. Like I said, we're going to do a separate video with a full-on review as such. But just to show you what you get in the box here. All the rules of the game. So this basically shows you how to play the game, all the various mechanics and stuff. We haven't had a proper look through this yet ourselves. We'll do a separate video and go through all this. But yeah, as you'd expect, lots of Warhammer Fantasy vibes coming out, as you would expect from this this kind of game, which is really cool. So, yeah, nice little pocket-sized rule book with all your stuff that you'd need. Like I say, I believe this is free online as well. So if you do want to kind of dip your toe into the game, you can download that on the Para Bellum website, which I'll link down below. But onto the main star of the show, and it is the miniatures. Now, straight away you can see these are some big chunky figures. So we have got some really cool looking knights. Have we got a miniature to hand? Just to show you the scale, it says a Deathcore Krieg compared to that horse. It is massive. So yeah, really nice chunky miniatures here, which is cool to see. I'm looking forward to getting some paint on these and letting them hit the battlefield. So it looks like you get a set of those. Again, on some really big frames as well. So yeah, they look really cool. So we get some cavalry. We get some big troll looking monster things. They are really funky. Yeah, they are. I do like how big and chunky these figures are. They should be quite fun to paint up. The moulds are plastic, similar to you'd have on, you know, Warhammer figures and the like. Yeah, all looks really cool. Some cool details on these as well. They look really cool. Next up, we look like we have the commander for the human side, with a really cool looking mounted guy. I believe we've also got the opponent leader as well, which is really cool, some nice detail on his staff. And looks like we've got some objective markers as well, plastic ones. So they're really cool to see. Very impressed with those. Looks like next up we have the big monster from the set. So the Abomination, I think this is called. So this is across 4 small frames, 2 little ones, with a load of parts. So I think this is going to be quite big when it's built up. Yeah, that looks really cool. Now it's worth noting that the assembly instructions for all these miniatures are found online. The game does have a QR code that you need to scan in order to access those instructions. I would have liked assembly instructions in the box. I just think that makes things a little bit easier. You know, it's self-contained and you don't have to go elsewhere. But you know, as long as they're always provided online, that's pretty cool. And it means you can have a look at the assembly instructions as well before you get them. We now have the humans. So these are essentially the knight style guys for the human faction in the game, with swords and shields. And again, big chunky models. They're really cool. And you get 2 sprues of them. I believe they're all armed identically. So then we get the opponents. Again, really chunky, nice kits, armed with some cool weapons. Some really nice detail on some of these as well. So again, we'll probably do a separate video as well once I've built all these up and have a look what you actually get in the box as well. But yeah, they look really cool. And you get 3 sets of them. And then finally, it looks like you get a set of archers as well. So these are armed with crossbows and bows. And then maybe just crossbows. And yeah, they're pretty cool. So then finally in the box, you get an absolute stack of bases. So they're the big monster base, and they all have square bases that they slot into, which is one of the mechanics of the game. So essentially, as you take casualties, you'll lose guys from these square bases, and as you lose the square bases, the combat efficiency of your army will go down. And here's just a better look at some of those miniatures in the box. So you've got your sword and shield guys, you've got your crossbowmen, your cavalry and your character, the big brute, and then big block of infantry, the monster sized guys and the leader. So a nice mixture of different miniatures there in the set. So yes, that is a quick look at Conquest, the Last Argument of Kings by Para Bellum. An absolute mountain of goodies that come in the box. Loads of sprues, instruction manual, loads of cool stuff. So this is the entry point into the game. You know, getting the 2 armies and the rule book seems like a pretty good deal. I believe Para Bellum are also doing some army sets as well, where you get a collection of miniatures and the cards and rules for them, which is pretty cool if you want to get into one of the other factions. Speaking of the other factions, Para Bellum also sent us 1 box of a unit from each of those factions, so let's have a quick look at them. So yeah, Para Bellum also sent us 1 box of each of the Nords and the Dreghom, the kind of dwarven faction in the game. So let's have a look at the Dwarves first, because they're quite an interesting kit. It looks like you get parts to build 2 variants, either the Hold Warriors or the Hold Ballistae. So let's have a look at these and see what we get in the box. Again, these are quite chunky boxes for main troops. I think it's due to the fact that the sprues are quite big for these. Again, you get unit cards for them. Unfortunately, these ones don't have the stat line on, which is a little bit of a shame. I'd have liked to have seen these showing the profiles of the units. That QR code possibly pulls up the unit stat lines and the assembly instructions perhaps. But yeah, it's a shame that the stats aren't on the card, but again they match the ones in the set, so you can draw your forces. Inside we've got, interestingly, white plastic. Looks like there is a command banner, which has got a big banner on it, different shield, some different intricate stuff for your command squads, which is cool. And then you get sprues then that allow you to construct whichever build of the dwarf that you want to do. So yeah, looks like there's lots of different parts and options on there, which is really cool. I think you get four 4 identical sprues there to build up your unit, and obviously they've got a lot of options to build the different types of dwarves, which are cool. And we also have the raiders for the Nords. So these are the tough looking barbarian guys, and again they look really cool, really nice looking miniatures. I'm sure they'll have some uses in other games. So we'll open these up and again see what we get. So similar to the dwarf set, we get all the bases, we get the stat lines. There's only one card here because the box only builds that type of squad. Again, we get a command sprue, which lets you build a command squad. And again, you get some various sprues with all the parts to build some various warriors. And again, there's some really cool models. They're quite chunky, so again, I'm interested to see how big these are when they're built up. Quite looking forward to seeing how these turn up. So that is a quick look at Conquest, the last argument of kings. Keep an eye on the website where we'll have a bit of a review and a roundup on the game. And yeah, looking forward to getting into some battle reports for this as well. So until next time, we will see you later.